So, in the last video, we talked about why the standard tools of economics and how we solve externalities kind of fail to achieve the results that we want, or they would work, but they're perhaps more costly than we might imagine. Okay, so we can't simply tax people into behaving according to how we want them to behave, which is to say, uh, maintain social distancing, only go to stores and such if you need to, etc., etc. So what I want to do in this video is provide a defense of wearing masks and practicing isolation, or at the very least social distancing. Okay, now this is obviously going to be based on knowledge that we have today. It is mid-July 2020. The wearing and the use of masks is obviously contentious. There's been a lot of conflicting reports coming out. At one point, we all believed that wearing masks was a bad thing, and now we believe it's a good thing. What I'm trying to get at here is that things can change, right? In light of new information, in light of new data, if something happens that makes this defense invalid or wrong, I will of course release a new video updating this. I'll leave this video up so that we can have it. But if something changes such that what I'm about to say becomes wrong, I will make a new video. There's no need to attack me in the comments for it. I will release one as quickly as I can. So right now, based on our current understanding, masks, basically do not help the wearer all that much, right? What I'm saying here is if a person who has coronavirus and is not wearing a mask, comes up to you and coughs in your face and, spreads the virus that way, whether you're wearing a mask or not, you're almost certainly going to be infected. Okay. So the mask does very little to actually prevent you from becoming sick from coronavirus, or preventing you from receiving the virus. But what it seems to do, at least this is again based on what we know, it seems to reduce the spread. Okay, so if a person who has coronavirus comes up to you and coughs on you and they are wearing a mask, you are now less likely to contract the disease. Okay, and this sort of works even better if you are also wearing a mask, though not by much. Okay, so the mask really is something that says, hey, if I have coronavirus and I go out in public, I am now less likely to spread it. Okay, it's more about preventing other people. This is the common mantra is, I wear the mask for you, not for me, right? And that's sort of where this is all coming from. So given that we have this externality problem, given that people going out and about their daily lives, and again, we still have asymptomatic people who still have coronavirus and are carrying it, and frankly, most of us have not been tested. I actually have been. I was exhibiting symptoms. I went and got tested, came back negative. I still wear a mask everywhere I go just to be double safe. Um, Given this, what we want to do is reduce the spread. And that's what a mask does. Now, isolation obviously does it even more, right? So if we all stayed in our homes and we didn't leave, the spread of the virus would effectively stop, right? Now, in today's society, staying at home 24/7 is not exactly feasible for most people. We have to go to work, we have to somehow provide for our families. So we could say, go to the grocery store, at least most of us, because most of us don't live on farms. So going out in public is something that we are going to have to do. And so this is a recommendation again, unless you have to go out, don't, right? It's not worth it, at least right now. That being said, a lot of life is about risk, right? So risk assessment. Okay. Now, the risk of coronavirus is obviously high, right? It's not zero, okay? But we deal with risk in our everyday lives, right? We get in cars, we, eat food that we didn't cook, right? So it could be poisonous. If you've ever had milk in your fridge, past the expiration date, there was a risk involved in that. Drinking it at least or using it in some way. Okay. So we deal with risk a lot. And what we're kind of saying, or what I'm saying here, is, COVID is a risk, right? And at some level, it's up to you to assess that risk and what you are doing to sort of make you and your loved ones safe. And wearing a mask can be a really effective way, right? And so, whether we require it legally or whether we don't, that's separate to the question. At least so far, is it good practice to be wearing a mask? And the evidence seems to be pointing to yes. And we can also do sort of a two by two matrix, which I'm a huge fan of, right? So we can have, we can have you and we can have others, okay? And, you can wear a mask or you can not. And others likewise can wear a mask or not. Okay. And that gives us, this two by two matrix here, where if everyone's wearing a mask, so if you wear a mask and other people wear a mask, that will put us in this square here, which I will denote with a happy face. If you wear a mask and other people do not wear one, you should feel, probably kind of sad, right? Because you are doing, what you need to do to help protect others, and they are not doing it for themselves or doing it for you, right? If you are not wearing a mask and other people are, it's very likely in today's society that you will be, chastised or at least in Michigan, you won't even be allowed in stores anymore because it is illegal to not wear a mask in stores. But you will likely face some social stigma or some social consequences. And if nobody wears masks, well, then, everything is bad. And we even start crying, right? So that's a crying person that looks terrible. It looks like they have four eyes. That's a testament to my poor drawing abilities. Those are supposed to be tears. That would be a situation where no one's responding, to this outbreak at all. We are all just going about our normal lives, and that would be probably not good. Okay, so what we're trying to get to is a square like this, where everyone's wearing a mask, and we can do the same thing for, we could do a similar story for isolation or distancing, right? We could do that as well, right? It'd be the same thing. I would just change the word mask to, distancing, and it'd be the same faces, in all the cells as well. Okay, so the point here is to try to get us into this square here where everybody is happy, right? Yes, we're not as happy as we would be if we didn't have to wear masks and if coronavirus didn't happen. Obviously that would be a far better world. But given the cards that we've been dealt where coronavirus does exist, everybody wearing masks and or practicing social distancing as much as is feasible seems to be the sensible route.